Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Space Force, and we're going to talk about the American love crisis and how it is reflected and the elements that exist within Space Force about the American love crisis. All right, so let's jump into this. So one, spoilers for Netflix's Space Force. So Netflix's Space Force is a major new series. They have season 1 is out right now. You can watch it on Netflix, and it had 10 episodes in the first season, and it touches on this issue that I've talked that it's a major theme of American politics, which is the American love crisis. What is the American love crisis? It is the idea that now in modern society we have landed at a place that was unsuspected. So basically many people, very well-meaning people, set up a situation in current modern America where anyone can choose any consenting adult can choose any other consenting adult as their partner, right? But not just any other consenting adult, but as many consenting adults as they choose. So we used to have a very simple, you might even want to call it naive, perspective of love, and it was, gender X, gender Y, these two get together and they have children, right? And they seal that together with a forever promise called a vow, right? And there's an entire group of people in America who are like, hey, this is antiquated and it's too simple. We need something that's going to embrace all the complexities of what Americans want. And they totally got their wish. We created a world where essentially, if you're consenting adults, you could choose your plurality, you could choose your preference. Gender is no longer an axis that's necessary, that needs to be paid attention to, and plurality doesn't need to be paid attention to. Essentially, love is love, right? Love as many people as you want, love people you want from every gender and every perspective. We have this fully liberated, fully open love formula, okay? And it was supposed to be a paradise, right? Everybody was supposed to get excited, and this was supposed to work, right? And I fully understand why people wanted this, right? And I am not making any judgments on any of that, right? That's just a description of where we were heading, right? We were heading toward this world where anybody could love anybody they wanted in any plurality they wanted, 1, 3, 7, whatever they wanted, right? Gender didn't matter, preferences didn't matter. It's supposed to just be as wide open. It's supposed to be a spectrum, right? Well, where we landed is people are like, oh, wait. People could not even get this right when it was super simple. When it was gender X, gender Y, make a forever vow and have kids. People screwed that incredibly simple, like, layup version of relationships. They screwed that up constantly. Divorce was rampant under the incredibly simple perspective, right? Now, the idea was that once we got into this new structure where everybody's liberated and could have whatever kind of relationships they wanted, you would have this situation where you would be able to, everything would be just a nirvana, right? Everybody could just choose whatever they wanted. But what's happened is people are like, the young people today are like, oh my gosh, I'm looking at this, okay? So I need to make sure that I find somebody who's interested in the preference I'm interested in, who wants the same axis on the gender perspective and wants the same axis on plurality. I now understand the ask. I need to jump into the dating pool and I need to get preference, gender, and plurality correct. Even though I watched my parents have far less complexity and failed absolutely right at the beginning, and it was a train wreck. Now we're going to increase the complexity, and everybody's going to believe that this is going to work out better. And you're like, and I think the young people are like, rather than jump in and try, they're not even trying. You're seeing this just constantly, right? Now, so you have that, right? And young people are, my heart goes out to them because I feel so bad for them. And the reason why is I was really fortunate. I was able to find somebody who was looking for the same preference, the same gender structure, the same preference, the same plurality. And I got lucky, and I'm coming up on 29 years of marriage, right? It's really transformative for me. But I look at the young people today, and I'm like, oh yeah, you guys are really, really, you are there. How are you going to get this done, right? It's all going to be almost impossible for you. You're going to have a really, really, really hard time, right? Well, Hollywood has a voice in this, and Hollywood absolutely speaks about this absolutely constantly, and they are still telling and projecting to young people this can work, and these projections, these like encouragements to the young people to say, don't give up on this formula. This liberated formula can work. It's everywhere. You see it all over, right? And one of the vectors for this is Space Force. Space Force has a polyamory story in it, right? So the leader of Space Force is the general of Space Force, General Naird. His wife asked him to go into a polyamorous relationship, right? Now, it is interesting because I feel like Hollywood is encouraging, and there's a whole lot of really nice, sweet words from Lisa Kudrow, she's the General Naird's wife in the show, and she explains everything you would expect Hollywood to explain about polyamorous relationships and how it works out great and everything's fine, and all normal people should totally embrace polyamorous relationships, and this is going to be just a wonderful paradise. But because Hollywood is Hollywood, they can never really say one thing. They're always saying 8 things. So while they really give this really beautiful description of polyamory and how smooth and stable it can run through Lisa Kudrow's words, they show through the behavior and the reactions of General Naird and General Naird's daughter that these polyamorous relationships are absolutely fraught, even when they're executed near almost perfectly, right? And that the reality is, it is incredibly difficult to make any of this work, and that polyamorous relationships, the odds of them succeeding are incredibly low. Right now, I will invite correction, right? And the only reason I'm saying that is every time I have seen a polyamorous relationship, it has ended in tears and or flames, right? But I'm more than willing to, and what's fascinating to me is you're seeing this polyamory trajectory put forward in Space Force. But even as they defend polyamory, they show that it's a hot mess, and that basically no one comes out without cuts and scrapes at minimum, if not the loss of a virtual limb. It is, virtual, not physical. That it is incredibly difficult. So I really am curious, and again, I'm amazed because it seems very clear that Hollywood would want to put forward love is love narrative. Polyamory is great. And while Lisa Kudrow's character carries that message through her words, through the reactions and the behaviors of General Naird, and through the reactions and the behaviors of his daughter, you can see it's an absolute train wreck. And so I just thought it was really interesting that I really feel that Space Force is very much 100% highlighting this American love crisis we have. And the reason why I keep talking about it is I want our government to start helping us with real problems, right? And I really think this American love crisis is a very genuine problem, right? And while we have conventions and meetings and synopsis and symposiums on climate change, who's talking about the American love crisis? Who's helping our young people with this horrible, horrible problem that's highlighted in virtually every single show we have on television today? It's really, really fascinating. I'm hoping that the government will pay attention and start to give us some real solutions on some real problems that are really impacting our young people today. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion on the topic. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.